Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're tackling some really interesting insights from Google's Martin Splitt.
Yeah, focusing on JavaScript rendering,
hmm
that whole server-side versus client-side debate, SSR and CSR, and structured data's place and all this AI stuff happening.
Exactly. We've got an article from Search Engine Journal summarizing an interview with him, and also a transcript from a video he did on a Japanese SEO YouTube channel.
That's right, COC owes a res. So two good sources giving us his perspective.
And our mission really is just to cut through some of the noise, understand what Google's thinking now about these tech SEO bits, especially with AI becoming so central.
And what it means for you listening, whether you've got a big content site or maybe you're building web apps.
Right. So let's jump right in. AI crawlers and JavaScript. What's the latest?
Well, the big news, or confirmation, rather, from Splitt in both sources, is that Google's AI crawler, the one Gemini uses it, can render JavaScript. And effectively.
Is it different from Googlebot?
No, that's the key point. It uses the exact same web rendering service, the WRS, that Googlebot uses. It's a shared service inside Google.
Okay, so the WRS, that's the system that actually, builds the page with the JavaScript.
Precisely. It processes the page to see the final content, JavaScript included. So the AI benefits from that same established, robust system.
Right. The YouTube transcript really emphasized that shared service thing. So Google's AI has the same rendering power as its main search crawler.
Yeah, which suggests, and the YouTube video kind of hints at this with a study reference, that Google's AI might have a leg up on other AI chatbots that maybe struggle more with JS-heavy sites.
That makes sense if they don't have that same rendering infrastructure.
Exactly. Google's AI is leveraging something they've spent years refining for search.
Okay, but what about delays? I remember reading concerns, and the YouTube transcript mentions a study finding rendering could take weeks. That sounds problematic.
Yeah, Splitt addressed that head on. He acknowledged those long delays can happen, but stressed they're outliers.
Outliers how?
He said the 99th percentile is within minutes for rendering itself. So super fast for almost everyone, those week-long examples. He suggested that's more likely down to scheduling issues in the indexing pipeline.
So after the rendering happens, like waiting in line to be fully processed and indexed.
Right. Or potentially even issues with how those delays were measured in the first place. The core rendering part, he insists, is generally very quick.
That's a crucial distinction, isn't it? It means using JavaScript isn't inherently introducing massive delays from the rendering itself, usually.
Correct. The bottleneck, if it exists, is likely elsewhere in Google's systems.
Okay, that clears things up a bit. Let's pivot then to that classic debate. Server-side rendering, SSR, versus client-side rendering, CSR.
Yeah, and here Splitt is very pragmatic. Both sources show him saying there's no single better way. It really depends.
Depends on the website's purpose, right?
Exactly. For what he calls classical websites, sites mainly showing information, articles, blogs, typical content sites.
Like news sites or company brochures.
Yeah, those kinds. For them, he strongly recommends SSR, or even just pre-rendering static HTML.
Why is that?
Well, he argues that making those sites rely heavily on JavaScript can cause problems. Things might break more easily. Pages can feel slower to load initially, and interestingly, it can even use more battery on mobile devices.
Okay, so for content-first sites, keep it simpler on the rendering front if possible.
That's the gist. But then on the flip side, there's CSR.
Client-side rendering, where the browser does most of the work.
Right. And Splitt sees that as a much better fit for highly interactive web applications. Think online photo editors, maybe complex dashboards, CAD tools in the browser.
Things where the interactivity is the main point, not just reading text.
Precisely. For those, the rich interaction is key, and maybe the initial content load isn't the absolute top priority in the same way. CSR enables that complex app-like feel.
He used that analogy, didn't he? Hammer versus screwdriver.
He did, in both sources.
Yeah.
SSR and CSR are tools for different jobs. You pick the right one. Trying to force one where the other fits better just causes friction.
Makes perfect sense. But are there downsides to SSR mentioned?
Yeah, the YouTube transcript touches on that. It notes that, well, interactivity can be more limited with SSR compared to what you can achieve with CSR. And setting up the infrastructure for SSR can sometimes be, a bit more complex.
So it's still a trade-off, even for content sites.
Always trade-offs. The YouTube video also had a quick mention of learning management systems, LMS.
Oh, yeah.
Splitt sort of suggested SSR might be good there too. partly to ensure accessibility for AIs that don't render JavaScript well, though he was careful not to speculate too much about other companies' AI tech long term.
Interesting point. So even if Google's AI handles JS, maybe others don't yet, impacting discoverability on other platforms.
Potentially, yeah. It adds another layer to the decision.
Okay, so rendering covered. What about structured data? The article mentioned it's becoming more important with AI.
Definitely. Splitt confirmed this across both sources. He explained that structured data helps Google's AI understand content better and with more confidence.
Confidence, meaning it's more sure about what the page is actually about.
Basically, yes. It helps clarify relationships, entities, facts on the page in a machine-readable way. He noted this aligns with what Microsoft has said about Bing using it too.
So it's like giving the AI clearer signposts,
Yep.
but does it help you rank higher? That's always the big SEO question.
Ah, the million-dollar question. Splitt was very clear on this, especially in the article. Structured data does not push rankings directly.
Right, so not a magic bullet for page one.
Nope. It aids understanding, which is valuable, but don't expect implementing schema to suddenly boost your position directly.
The YouTube transcript had a quote about using it only if it makes sense, right?
Exactly. Don't just plaster schema everywhere if it doesn't accurately reflect the content. Use it thoughtfully, where it adds real semantic value.
It's about clarity for the machine, not gaming the system.
That seems to be the message. Make it genuinely helpful for understanding.
So wrapping things up, what's the overarching advice from Splitt here? It feels like it comes back to basics.
It really does. Both sources highlight his core message. Focus on your users, your business goals, and just creating great content. Don't get lost chasing technical tricks.
Yeah, the YouTube transcript mentioned him telling Japanese SEOs to think about your users and make users happy. Simple, but fundamental.
Absolutely. All the technical stuff, rendering, structured data, should serve those goals, not be goals in themselves.
So for you listening, what's the real takeaway here? It seems the technical choices, like how you render or if you use structured data.
They need to be driven by your specific goals and what your users actually need, especially now with AI playing a bigger role in discovery.
Yeah, those old blanket statements like JavaScript is bad for SEO, they're just too simple now, aren't they? Google's rendering has improved.
Hugely. But the trade-offs between SSR and CSR are still very real. You need to choose based on the experience you want to provide. Content site, probably lean SSR. Interactive tool, maybe CSR makes more sense.
And structured data, not a direct ranking factor, but definitely important for helping AI understand your content. Its value seems likely to grow.
Undeniably. As AI gets smarter, giving it clear signals about your content seems like a pretty good idea.
So here's something to think about. As AI gets better and better at understanding context, maybe even nuance, how does that change the balance? The balance between pure technical SEO tweaks and just focusing on really good user-focused content strategy.
That is the fascinating question, isn't it? Where does that balance settle in the coming years? Definitely lots more to explore there.